G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. I'm coming to you from the bush track here between North Mead and Castle Hill via Borkham Hills. So I'm not sure where it leads. It's the first time I'm coming along this track. But what I've decided to do is just to take a track and just walk for a couple of hours in one direction and then head back and just expand my knowledge of the bush tracks in this area. It's in my LGA, it's close to home. I've lived here over 40 years, and believe it or not, I've only just discovered these tracks. And up there in the tree we've got a couple of bush turkeys just making their way through the trees. No doubt they'll come down and just start digging up the leaves. But it is a beautiful bushwalk, one that I recommend to all, and it's something that I look forward to doing time and time again. So what we're going to do today is not only do a bushwalk, but also do a walk and talk where we go through a book summary. And I saw a kookaburra before, high up in the tree, looking down at the ground, just absolutely focusing on what was going on down on the bush floor. And their focus is just unbelievable. How many times we've seen kookaburras just sit there, just staring. Then all of a sudden they just descend, swoop down, and then they come up with a little blue-tongued lizard or a skink or a little black beetle, you name it. They're able to see things that I couldn't see myself, believe it or not. So it just goes to show that nature very much reveres focus, the importance of focus, and for many species of animals, including eagles, and you name it. They all depend on their ability to focus their eyes, focus their senses, their smell, their intuition, so to speak, to be able to protect them from the challenges that face them. There's a nice little little bridge here, which is interesting. So that'll take me yet again across a waterway, and I can imagine how beautiful it would be here after a rain, a significant rain, having the water just lapping over and creating a swirling effect. For those who are not aware, downstream from here is the North Rocks Dam, which is designed to hold back the water when it really pelts down and floods, to ensure that Parramatta Lake, Parramatta and all the downstream suburbs and areas are not overwhelmed and flooded by water. So today's book summary is entitled The Power of Focus by an author named Jack Canfield. And what he says is that there are essentially two things that can make someone wise. The books that they read and the people that they meet. So he talks about the importance of OPE, other people's experience, and other people's experiences you can get from reading books, which are focused accounts that people have put together and have been, peer-reviewed and stood the test of time. He doesn't say that wisdom comes from social media, from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's about books and about the people that you meet along the way. So the people you meet and the books that you read. So he talks about the importance of having focused material that you refer to, and that you are surrounded by people who have a purpose, who have a structure to their thought patterns, to their life, and to everything they do. Because what the author says here is that the unfocused mindset is what stands in most people's way. So in order to become more productive, according to the author, it's important that we create healthy habits and stick to them. So it's not only important to create the healthy habits, to identify what they are, but it's important to be able to stick to them. Good habits and sticking to them. Because what happens is that our habits become automatic. And what you want to do is to ensure that your good habits are the ones that get promoted and become automatic, as opposed to having unproductive habits being your modus operandi. A few people coming across here, so I'll just wait until everybody crosses. So the first thing that the author suggests from this book is that we need to spend some time to reflect on what habits are unproductive. The unproductive habits in our lives. It's okay, love. So what do we mean by unproductive habits? Habits can be productive and they can be unproductive, according to the author. So we need to focus and identify which ones are unproductive, because they're the ones that are not leading us to where we want to go. They're the ones that we don't have control over. So once we've identified the unproductive habits that we have in our lives, then what we need to do is we need to replace them and swap them out with productive habits. The big mistake that a lot of people make when they're trying to change is that they try and just introduce a new habit without swapping out an old habit. So the author here is saying quite categorically that we need to be identifying our good habits and our bad habits and swapping out our bad habits with better habits, or improving on the good habits that we already have. So how do we identify these good habits? According to the author of this book, he said that the key to identifying good habits is by identifying role models who have these good habits and these good traits, and have the character and have the good character that you want to try and model. Because usually a lot of things are linked together. Usually a person of good character also tends to have the good habits and all of the other things that make them that package, I guess, is one way of suggesting it and describing it. So the second point to come out of this book, so we've got to follow a rocky path up. I guess this is where the runoff comes down to the stream here. So what the author is suggesting is one of the things that we need to do, and this is the second point to come out of the book, is we need to use problem solver methodology to overcome challenges and setback. So there is a structure, according to this author, Jack Canfield, to solving problems, and it's having a problem solver mindset. It just doesn't happen. You just don't solve problems if you don't have a particular methodology or a productive methodology. So the author here then goes on to say that the problem solver method functions as a universal cure, because the outcome, listen to this one here, the outcome of any situation depends on your actions. Did you hear that? The outcome of any situation depends on your actions, not other people's actions, your actions. So this is the key point to come out of this book, that we need to take action, productive action, to solve the intricacies of the many interrelated problems, because a lot of problems that we create in our lives are complex, they're convoluted, they're inextricably intertwined with things that we've done, things that we've said, the ways we react to things. So we need to look, according to the author, to our actions and figure out how our actions can solve the problem or make it worse, I guess, is one way of looking at it. So the way we choose to respond is critical. So either I can go that way or that way. I imagine that way there takes me up to Castle Hill. So I'll just go along here to see where it leads us and keep on chatting away. So the way we choose to respond, according to the author, is most critical. Some choose to ignore and forget, where others choose to solve. Jack Canfield says, be number 2. Be the person who chooses to solve their problems rather than to forget or to ignore them. Because problems unsolved just grow, they fester. You know, we've been married, we've been living long enough now in our lives to know that eventually other people's problems become our burdens. You know, all the anti-vaxxers, all the illegal protesters, they go and protest, they go and carry on like knobs, and lo and behold, 2 weeks later, a week later, Victoria today has almost 2,000 cases. You know, you've had the footy final and the protesters, the illegal protesters, plus the fact that Victorians, from what I understand, was a report put out that they haven't been this time round observing the requirements of lockdown as previously, and that could come from a number of different ways. Could be because they're fatigued by being locked down time and time again. But an important point. So don't choose to ignore or forget your problems, is what the author is saying, and choose to solve the problems. The bottom line is the person who solves the most problems in life ends up becoming the CEO, ends up becoming the manager, ends up probably earning the most money, because it's all about solving problems. You know, the people who embrace problem solving, the people who are good at solving problems, are the ones who end up being the leaders in our society. So the author says it's important to be able to ask some really, really important, empowering questions. And the sort of questions that the author suggests we ask is, how would I like the situation to turn out? Where do I see the situation going? And to ask those sorts of empowering questions, things that lead to action, is one of the points. And looking for information that helps, doing your research and applying the research also helps. But as we've learnt from other books, from other authors, what we shouldn't do is to try and get perfect information and complete information, because too much information leads to confusion, leads to procrastination, analysis paralysis, as it was once called when I was working in the old days at IBM. The last point to come out of this book from this author is where procrastination hinders the decision-making process by stealing your time and your focus. How many people do we know? And I do it myself lots of times. I've got a problem and I'll sit and mull over it, I'll think about it, I won't do anything, and before you know it, 3 months, 6 months have passed, the problem's still there, and I could have solved it straight away, but instead the problem's become worse. Here we go, we've got a little lizard down here, we've got a frilled neck lizard, a water dragon should I say, just on the rock there. I knew that by just sitting here long enough, nature would present itself. So the key is to try and avoid procrastination. A lot of the anti-vaxxers, a lot of the people who are suffering, they're suffering terribly by not getting vaccinated because, New South Wales is opening up on Monday, and the people who haven't been vaccinated are going to miss out on work opportunities, social opportunities, travel opportunities. It's just a whole host of things. It's all interrelated. So the reason that they are going through this pain isn't because the government has caused this issue. It's because of their own lack of decision making through procrastination that they're unable to do what they have to do and to I guess achieve their destiny. So as the author reminds us here, the natural inclination for people is to do nothing. I recall many years ago, as I said before on another vlog, that I went to a Jim Rohn seminar. Jim Rohn has since passed away, but he was in Australia back in the 90s, I think. And he said, to be successful is very, very easy. To be unsuccessful is even easier. So it's this laziness, this procrastination that robs people of opportunity to grow and develop and to be a leader in their field. So our natural inclination, unfortunately, is to do nothing, to be lazy, to not be action-oriented. So we need to break that trait, according to the author. We need to do something to stop being lazy, to encourage, to embrace our life, our future, and all the opportunities that come our way, both positive and negative. It's a process of growth and development. So we need to break any of the traits, according to this author. We need to break the traits that are robbing us and stealing us of focus and time. So the way we do it is we need to identify the causes of procrastination. And it's usually boredom, laziness, thinking that you're too busy, or you're just having too much fun and being distracted by other things. The author here encourages us and pushes us to live and to strive and to be living and working outside your comfort zone. The author also mentions, and we're finishing off now, that one of the key points to help progress our cause is to eliminate the distractions, get focused, and get purposed. All good, mate? So thank you very much, everybody, for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club on this wonderful Saturday, the Saturday before we get to achieve many of the freedoms that we've been living without for the past few months. But I'm thankful because even though I don't have all the freedoms that I've had in the past, I've been able to create newer freedoms. I've discovered this bandicoot track, as you can see. I don't know where it's going to lead me, but I'll start turning around at some point and heading back because I've been out and about now for a while. So I look forward to coming to you again from a different location with a different message, a message of empowerment, where we can be partners in each other's growth and development, and we can take an opportunity to go on a walk and talk. And you too can enjoy vicariously the beauty of this bushland that we have here in suburban Sydney. Take care, everybody. Wishing you all the very best on this Saturday. And I'll just go down here to the water, and we'll finish up this vlog of Jim's 5am Club and look at what's down there. So in summary, we've just gone through a book summary entitled The Power of Focus by Jack Canfield, and he's told us that it's important to not procrastinate, to be action oriented, to have a goal, to know where you're heading, and to do whatever you have to do to develop the traits so that you can achieve your outcomes. So here we are. How beautiful is this? Suburban Sydney, within 5 kilometres of my home. And we've got a couple of tracks here. One track is the Bandicoot track. I don't know what the other one is, but I guess the question is, do I go around? What I might do is just follow this around and see if it takes me back to where I came from. It's a bit of a risk. Or on second thoughts, let me procrastinate and just go back the way I came. And next time when I start off, I'll start off from the other way and see where it leads me and see if it comes back to this point, and that way I'll know where the track leads. Take care everybody, Yasas, and we'll chat again. Bye for now.